Today, indeed, as Senator Markey said, higher education workers and students stand at a crossroads. One side of those roads offers a version of higher education that is focused on attacking higher education workers, students, and missions. That side cares more about the demands of corporations with an emphasis on narrowly training workers for existing employers. This vision of higher education is focused on cutting jobs, squashing free speech, challenging independent inquiry, and fitting students into tight boxes. Against that vision of higher education that we are getting from the right, today we as labor and our allies are standing together to offer a new alternative that works for all of us. Ours is a more expansive vision of higher education, one that is focused on the needs of students, workers, and our communities. This vision of higher education explores new horizons, prepares students with skills, not just for their first job out of college, but for rich and varied lives. This vision of higher education prepares students also to be creators, to imagine new futures, to be involved members of their communities, to be active participants in a democracy. This vision recognizes that the people who make higher education need good jobs and fair and equitable working conditions. This vision says that higher education must ultimately serve our communities, not take away from them. It is a vision that believes in the promise of all of us to improve our society. The prosperity of the United States, indeed the future of our democracy, is dependent on choosing the vision of higher education that is open and accountable to all. We must choose the vision of higher education that produces new generations of researchers, creators, leaders, and thinkers. We must choose the vision that brings in and values the experience of all students, regardless of income, geography, or background. Our institutions of higher education must be hubs of the arts, culture, learning, and teaching in our communities. Our very country depends on this. What we propose today is a federal policy platform that makes that vision of higher education possible, achievable, and sustainable in the United States. It draws from the experiences of students, faculty, and higher education workers from across the country. In order to fulfill the needs of students, citizens, and our democracy, we must pursue change on several fronts. First, we must make post-secondary education, including community college, four-year institutions, technical training, pre-apprenticeship programs, and other post-high school pathways free as a right. Anyone with a high school degree deserves a path to a fulfilling career through public institutions that are free to students and ensure that students will not enter into debt to obtain post-secondary education. This means creating a national program to make post-secondary education free at the point of use and to not limit it to just free tuition and fees. We must account for additional expenses, including books, housing, food, tools, and/or necessary class supplies. These extra expenses often are the cost of college that makes it inaccessible to low-income students, students of color, and so-called non-traditional students. Students should have the right to broaden their experiences and perspectives through general education programs across a broad range of academic fields and disciplines, as well as develop skills in focused areas. Higher education must be able to accommodate everyone who wants to learn and grow, from future electricians and nurses to those who want to study biology, music, or a foreign language. In addition to expanding the scope and the options of higher education, it is time to recruit individuals who have not considered college as part of their future to the benefit of the whole country, which depends on higher education for basic research, employment training, ethical and civics education. But we cannot simply throw open the doors of higher education without ensuring that the workers who are at the center of that process are taken care of. It would be easy to make college free by cutting jobs, downsizing curricular options, ballooning workloads, closing physical campuses, and pushing students online, and outsourcing all manner of services. Instead, we need to make sure higher education jobs in college towns, big cities, and everything in between are good union jobs that allow workers, families, and communities to thrive. We don't just have an obligation to provide this expansive vision of higher education for all Americans. Indeed, Americans have a right to this kind of education. Americans have a right to institutions that focus on learning, teaching, discovery, and innovation.